Hello everyone, this is my YouTube channel abinav 23. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe my YouTube channel and also hit the bell icon to get notified. In the previous video we were discussing about the export procedures, and now it's the time to discuss the last export procedure, which is securing payment. After the shipment of goods, the exporter informs the importer to pay the money for those goods which have been exported by him, and the importer has to prepare these necessary documents, which are packing list, copy of invoice, bill of lading, insurance policy, certificate of origin and letter of credit. He has to prepare these necessary documents and then he has to pay to the exporter. And having received the payment for exports, the exporter needs to get a bank certificate of payment. Means after receiving the payment from the importer, the exporter needs to get a bank certificate of payment. Now, bank certificate of payment, it is a proof. It says that all the necessary documents relating to the export have been submitted by the importer, and he has paid money to me. This is the content of bank certificate of payment. And now let us discuss about the import procedure. The first import procedure is trade enquiry. The first thing that the importing firm has to do is to gather information about the countries or firms which the exporter is exporting the goods. The importer has to know the country or firm from which the goods are being exported. And then the second one is procurement of import license. There are certain goods that can be imported freely, but there are others which need licensing. So that the importer needs to consult the export-import policy in force to know whether the goods that he or she wants to import are subject to import licensing or not. He has to know whether the goods which he is importing is subject to import licensing or not. It is obligatory in India in the modern days. And then the next one is obtaining foreign exchange. Since the supplier in the context of an import transaction resides in a foreign country, he or she demands payment in foreign currency. The exporter demands the foreign currency as a payment, so that the importer has to pay payment in the exporter's country currency. In India, it is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, which is RBI. The next one is placing order or indent. I have already said about this placing order or indent in export procedures. It is just placing an order so that the exporter will dispatch the goods from his country to importer's country. And the next one is obtaining letter of credit. The letter of credit, I have already said about it. It is just a proof it is just an agreement where it assures about the payment of importer. Means if the payment terms agreed between the importer and the overseas supplier is a letter of credit, then the importer should obtain the letter of credit from his bank and forward it to the overseas supplier. He has to obtain the letter of credit from his bank and he has to send it to the overseas supplier or the exporter. It is the most secured payment method in the world. And the next one is arranging the finance. The importer should make arrangements in advance to pay to the exporter on arrival of goods at the port. He has to prepare or he has to make arrangements in advance to pay money to pay to the exporter on arrival of goods at the port.